John Mearsheimer and Jeffrey Sachs have spent years trying to explain why the US foreign policy consistently ignores its own national interests. They call it the Israel lobby or structural influence, but I want to go a step further. I want to talk about the physical manifestation of that influence. I want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, not as a criminal, but as a strategic asset. We all know the name Jeffrey Epstein. His unforgivably vicious actions are now etched into the public domain, a stain on our collective conscience, but I'm not here to talk about the headlines you've already seen. I want to talk about who he really was. Was he merely a sophisticated pedophile, or was that just the cover for something far more sinister? How does a man with no degree and a criminal record end up instilled within the halls of MIT? It wasn't a coincidence. It was a placement. He wasn't just a donor. It was a bridge between the world's most advanced scientific minds and the shadowy interests that funded him. He used the prestige of the Media Lab to scientificize his image, buying the silence of the academics with millions in anonymous grants that everyone in the inner circle knew were his. We were told he was a financial genius, yet his only client of record was Leslie Wexner. How did he actually amass such gargantuan fortune? The truth is, his wealth didn't come from stock picks. It came from his role as the architect of a child prostitution syndicate designed to ensnare the affluent community in Florida and beyond. This wasn't just vice, it was an industry of blackmailing of the compromised. Why did the FBI and local law enforcement ignore the screams of the victims for years? And when they finally moved, why did they thwart further investigations? At whose behest did Alexander Acosta famously state that Epstein belonged to the intelligence, and that case was above his pay grade? The Non-Prosecution Agreement wasn't a legal error, it was a directive. Who were the invisible hands behind him, who granted him the humongous reach he enjoyed, allowing him to whisper into the ears of the presidents, royalty, and the global brokers? This wasn't the work of one man, it was the work of a handler. Much like 9/11, Epstein's suicide was a staged performance, a tactical operation to pull the wool over the eyes of the entire world. The cameras were failed, the guard slept, and the man who knew everything suddenly had no voice. It wasn't an ending, it was an extraction. When you connect the dots of the revelations so far, the claim that Epstein was a Mossad asset is no longer a sweeping conspiracy theory. It's a substantive fact that demands further corroboration. Look at his ties to Ghislaine Maxwell, the daughter of the Robert Maxwell, a man buried on the Mount of Olives with the honors of the Mossad hero. Look at his close associate, Ehud Barak. Epstein wasn't just a criminal, he was a functional node in a foreign intelligence network. Even pundits like Mearsheimer or Jeffrey Sachs struggle to explain the sheer depth of Israel's influence over the US. It's a possessed influence, where the politicians across the aisle rally behind Israel, tossing aside all morality and national interest of the United States. Epstein was a physical manifestation of that influence, the leverage used to ensure that the US political class remains in a state of perpetual and unblinking loyalty to you know who it is.